the Neon Confidential podcast.
Is this thing on? But I will say, we're just going to like jump right in here, that originally I didn't want to do the podcast because my hair wasn't done.
I didn't think you were going to mention that, actually.
No, because we're going to mention you.
It was a root issue. Yeah, it was
a root issue. And then the next thing is, you won't do a podcast without a very specific writer. Could you tell the people exactly what you needed to do this podcast?
Dr. Pepper, not Diet Dr. Pepper, but you did get both. So that was pretty cool, though, like just in case. And then this one, my writer went up a little bit, so I have a nothing but cake, and that's pretty damn cool. So I'm down with that.
Thank you for that, because I don't ever eat sweets. And of course, since the girls went to go get you one, I needed the carrot cake in honor of Easter. And so I just downed the entire thing before we started.
They're so good. Red velvet, carrot cake, chocolate.
Why are they so good? There's like a pound of butter.
Is that your client by chance? Or
no.
Oh, can it be?
I want it to be. That's kind of dangerous. I would just gain a bunch of weight.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even be able to walk out the door. Actually, I don't gain weight, but that's here.
You don't gain weight, and you also don't have wrinkles. Can we just start the podcast off with you telling us your beauty secrets?
Well, I'm 26 years old. We're going to go with that. No, I started when I was like, oh my God, I started when I was 15. But, it's good genes. It's good genes. It's not drinking much. I may have a drink a month, no drugs, and just take care of yourself. Work out, take care of yourself and be active. That's important, and you see so many people not taking care of your body. My mom used to tell me, so she was like a dental hygienist before she started her career as a flight attendant. And she would always tell me, she's like, Jason, think of your teeth like a car. And you only get one car. Same with your teeth. You only get one set of teeth. So take care of your teeth. So I remember that. That's how I did. I took it to my whole. I'm like, okay, well, you better take care of everything then, because I can't, if I sever a limb, I'm not getting a new one, and such. But I just take care of myself. That's so important. I try and get sleep and drink water. I don't drink enough water, obviously, as I'm sitting here drinking a Dr. Pepper. But I'm trying. It's getting better. But that's just important. Take care of yourself. And you see so many people not taking care of themselves. And I'm like, some of them, I'm like, I look at some of my buddies from high school, and I'm like on Facebook, and I see them, I'm like, God, you look like you're my dad. But they had it rough. They just kept that drinking going and going and going.
It's the drinking. I think it's the drinking 100%. Like, that'll just really age you really quickly. The other thing that I feel like would age somebody is being like scaring the shit out of people, which is what you do.
It wouldn't age me. I get enjoyment out of that. So thoroughly enjoy scaring people. I mean, oh my God, my team members, I've brought team members over to my house, and I've gotten in a box on the front porch and burst out of the box. I can't even remember who I did that to. We'd have to ask Heather if I did that to her one time. Heather Collins, raised in Vegas, Radio Heather. We'd have to ask. I might have done that to her. Strong chance. But
I feel like you are the kind of person that really wouldn't like someone unless you've like tried to scare them before, because that's like your shtick. So for people who are just now tuning in and are like, can you guys get to the point? You've basically built an empire of fear with Egan Entertainment. How did all this start? When was the moment you realized that scaring people could be a business?
It was the turning point was really, I was in 5th grade, and it was the weirdest thing that happened. So I had loved the concept of haunted houses. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I loved Halloween. I dressed up as a, whatever, back when you could actually go to school and dress up as scary things. Like that ship has since sailed. Like you might be able to dress up as a princess now or something, or a superhero, but you are not dressing up as Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees or anything like that in elementary school.
One of the things that people don't realize about Vegas in general is like, even for New Year's Eve, you can't wear a mask.
Nope, because of the casinos.
Right. And so, okay, so there you were, 5th grade.
So yeah, fifth grade, and I went to a haunted house, and what was the name of the haunted house? I think it was Hotel California. I think it was that, or Nightmare in Leavenworth, in Omaha, Nebraska, when I was going to school. And I got to the front, and I got so scared that I chickened out, and I literally chickened out with my friends. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And after that, it was what I use now. Is like that motivated me to I'm like, what is this thing that scared me so much that I couldn't make it through? And so that intrigued me. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, then I went back like a week or two later, and I went through, and I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. But I saw everybody coming out, loving it, having a blast. I'm like, I really like this. Once I beat that fear, I'm like, I really enjoy doing this. So I started saving up props over the years. I would go to Spencer Gifts. They'd have this big, huge sale. Like Spencer Gifts used to have a cool Halloween section. Not so much anymore. I don't know whether that ship has sailed as well, too.
Wait, does Spencer still exist?
Yeah, it still exists. Yeah.
Interesting.
Them and Hot Topic.
Yeah, that was like the fun place to go when you were growing up.
Yeah, you get a great mask and stuff. So they have like 75% off, even sometimes like 90% off. So I would save up. At the end of October, I would go in there and I would, buy everything out. So I had this huge, huge collection. So I kept collecting over the years. My mom probably thought it was absolutely crazy. And I started this party planning service when I was in high school. And I would dress up as Barney illegally, Mickey Mouse illegally, Batman. I didn't know much about IP back then. Now we're partners with all those guys. But so we dress up, go to kids' parties. I'd sell a party for like my good party was like $90. And I was like, when I get those like 35, 40 minutes, I'd go in there and I thought I was rich after that party.
Wait, speaking of PR, because I am your publicist, how did you advertise?
Back then it was, what did we do? We did trade shows because I remember having a trade show booth and word of mouth. I don't think we had we wouldn't have had a website back then, guaranteed. But yeah, it was my uncle owned the sports show, and I remember having booths set up and my little advertisements. I'd work the booth. I'd always wear a hat. You see me in my denim shirt and stuff over there, selling it away. I had the heads of the characters on the table. Probably not a good representation of them. The poor kids are going by like, oh, there's the head of the character. You get the whole thing if you book a party. I don't know, but yeah. So I did the party planning service. That went well. I mean, I would do anything. The parents would call me and say, hey, we need a cowboy at a party. And I'd be like, you got $90 to spend? They'd be like, sure. Like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I would dress up as a cowboy and talk like a cowboy, hey, come on. And I'm from Nebraska and have a party with them as a cowboy. I mean, I didn't care as long as, I got that, I don't want to say love for money. I just, that desire to earn money because then I could buy what I wanted, which was really cool. So one day, parent calls me. And they're like, hey, my kid's got an October birthday. I'm like, okay, cool. And so the parents I'm like, well, what do you have to spend? Even then I was smart. I'm asking them like, well, what do you want to spend? I'm like, and they're like, well, we got like $400 and some. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I felt that I struck gold. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? $400 and some. And I'm like, sweet. And they like, can you do a haunted house party? I'm like, absolutely. So at the time I rented a fog machine because I didn't own a fog machine. I went into I remember the price was like $35. Rented a fog machine, recruited some of my friends to dress up in some of my costumes that I already had, set up little maze walls out of PVC in the backyard, put the fogger in there. And it was a really successful party. So the next day I get calls from all these parents and I'm like, oh shit, what do they do to their kids? Do they scar them or they get mad at me? And they're like, it's not my kid's birthday, but I want a haunted house party. I'm like, really? And I got this call like multiple times over. I'm like, yeah, let's do it because all these parents want to have a haunted house party. And that month I made like $5,000-$6,000. And I'm like,
what grade were you in?
I was in high school, so I would have been like 17 years old.
I bet your friends just thought you were the coolest. Like you're like running this business and like employing them to basically scare little kids and making money.
I ran that divider line where I wasn't quite the super cool kid, but I was still friends with them, because, it was kind of a nerdy thing to do with collecting the props and stuff like that. I wasn't a jock. I wasn't playing football or anything. I was too small to do that, but they respected me. So that was good. So like I said, I stayed right in this little divider line, and then I'd have big friends too. So I had like this big guy, Marshall, and this big guy, Lee. They were my friends. And it's like, so if anybody, like the super cool kids, anybody would beat me up, it's like, there's no chance in hell they're going to do that. And then Marshall had set the record straight one day where he beat up the school security guard. And so it's like that's when that's when you're pulling your weight right there. You know how they say it, like when it's like that New Guy movie where that kid goes in and goes to the top and beats the strongest prisoner. Well, that's kind of what Marshall did at school. So then I hung out with these guys. So I surrounded myself with big dudes, and nothing ever happened to me when I was in high school at all. I mean, it was in Nebraska. The most we got in was we got a few fights. There was no weird shit and guns and stuff like that in schools.
But it was like a natural foray into horror. What would the quote be? It's like, you didn't choose a scary life, the scary life chose you.
It did. And getting that feeling, even when I was in high school and stuff like that, a haunted house is like the best date a person could possibly go on. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have gotten engaged from going through my stuff or met their significant other going through my stuff, because it's like a guaranteed hand holding or holding the arm. I mean, you don't even have to make the first move because typically the girl's going to get scared in the haunted house. So, that girl is making the move right there. So it's like My business makes it easy for the dudes that are scared to make that move. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to come to me. I'm like a doctor. I'm like a psychologist. Come to me. And
You're like a matchmaker.
yeah, I am. A haunted house scary
I would have
matchmaker.
never put those two things together.
It's great, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's because again, you know, so many dudes are afraid to make the first move, and I get it in today's day and age, and so on and so forth. They are, and a haunted house made the girl make the first move. Then you're like, okay, she's grabbing my arm. Okay, we're good. I got
We're
that.
in.
I got that invite, you know, and then yeah, so it's good. So yeah, and I'm the haunted house matchmaker, I guess. I mean, so many people have gotten married working for me at the haunted houses and such, and you know, gotten divorced and whatever else. I mean, it's been interesting. It was like a big family. Having the big Halloween event here for 15 years was it was fun. It was a good time. You know, we got out on top. And we have so many other businesses now. I mean, they always say when one door closes, another one opens. And in this case, oh my God, they're opening all over the place.
So what was the first like haunted house that you did? Because that you were still talking about when you were in high school. So what was the first big one where you're like, I can do this in the big leagues?
So that would have been in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I moved to Lincoln, Nebraska from Omaha, Nebraska to go to school. So I went to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. So I got an old lightning rod manufacturing plant. It was this 15,000 square foot facility that was supposedly haunted, only 2 blocks from the university. I mean, it was unbelievable. So we set that up as our first haunted house. I saved money, got an investor, and you know, again, in college doing this stuff. And let me tell you, I learned a lot in college, but the real world taught me so much more. I mean, I'm not saying don't go to college, get a degree. It's super, super important. Like I would always suggest that. But that street smarts really is what, you know, got that thing going. I learned so much from opening up that first real brick and mortar business. I mean, it was intense and it was killer. So we set that up. I did that for a couple years. So that was called Tomb of Darkness. And it was successful. It did well. I mean, like 10, 12,000 people a year, nothing crazy.
That's a lot of people. And it was right by the university. So there's just probably...
Oh, I got all the frat boys and stuff, the sorority girls and stuff. And yeah, so it was 25,000 students over at University of Nebraska. So yeah, we got a lot of those students. A lot of them are scared to go, but so it was fun. I hired prison guards to be my security. That was fun. Because they knew all the, you know, security moves versus, you know.
Was it one of those haunted houses where you had to like sign a waiver to go through it?
Not back then. You know, I would have waivers signed for anything we do now, but
could they touch you? Could they?
No, no, I don't. I'm not into the touching stuff with any of my attractions. You know, and the main reason is because who am I to determine what's a touch you want and what you don't want? So I'm like, anything I do, I'm going for 99% of that audience. It's just that 1% that wants to go through and have their head bagged and touched and shocked and stuff. I want the 99%. I want the 99 people. Let the one person go get touched somewhere else. It's not us. So I avoid it like the plague. It's not fun for us.
So was Fright Dome your very first thing here in Vegas?
No, we had another haunted house. So I came out to Vegas. I started with, I got a job as a valet parker at MGM Grand, shockingly enough, which was a coveted position. I didn't know how coveted that job was. I mean, you'd make a lot of money as a valet parker. Mm-hmm. I feel horrible for them now with the parking fees and everything else that's going on. I mean, I'm sure their income's down because I'm going to go and spend $50 on parking. I'm not going to go
tipping.
Tip them 20, 30, whatever it was.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we made great money as valet parkers. So I went over there to MGM and then I transferred to the mansion at MGM. I was the only valet over there because I guess I had good customer service. So I'm like, cool, send me over to the mansion. And then after the mansion, I transferred over to Bellagio. I'm like, there's an opening at Bellagio. I'm like, okay, cool. This is all over a period of like a year and a half. So I was just saving up cash to start my first real haunted house here in Vegas.
So you always knew that that's what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, the valet parking was not a career. It was a means to an end. You knew that from the beginning.
No, I hated punching a clock. Yeah. I love MGM. They were partners for 15 years, but I could not stand pounding on that pavement, you know, punching a clock. You know, I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. You know, that's part of being a business owner. You know how that goes, but it's also, you know, lots of hours too. I mean, you know, I'm 7 days a week, many weeks, and you know, 24 hours a day. I mean, I get alarm calls, this call, that call. I mean, every call. Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm willing to trade out. I do not want to punch the clock. I want to create things, expand the business and everything. But so yeah, started at MGM, went to Bellagio. And then after Bellagio, I'd saved enough money and I took that leap. That was a scary leap because I probably wasn't getting that job back. And I started my first haunted house in it's on Highland Drive. I think it's 2828 Highland Drive. It was an old 10,000 square foot ballroom where I guess there'd been a murder or something there. Supposedly it was haunted too. I don't know.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
So I probably drive past it all the time.
Yeah, it's like stainless steel or glass or something like that. It's 2828. You'll see it's a cool Quonset hut style building. It's neat. So we started a haunted house there in the city of Las Vegas. The inspector that was over there, Reggie was his name. And he was the fire inspector, and he was actually one of my fire inspectors later on John Wick.
Cool.
So, 20-some years of giving me hell, Reggie. But no, I love Reggie. Yeah, so we started that. And then the unique moment was my mom worked a ticket booth. And towards the end of the run, and the run did very well. I think the price was only like $15 or something. I mean, it wasn't much. It's hard to make a lot of money only charging $15. But that was, like I said, that was back in 2002. So then... lady goes through, name's Pam Torres. I'm still in touch. She's over at Stratosphere now, and she was the marketing manager at Circus Circus. She gives her business card, and she's like, oh, we want to do a Halloween event. She told my mom at the ticket booth. Well, luckily, my mom was at the ticket booth, didn't forget about it, actually gave me the business card, called her, and then went over there, set up a meeting, and then we talked about doing a Halloween event. The weirdest thing about this Halloween event called Fright Dome is I actually owned the name Fright Dome prior to ever thinking about doing anything at Circus Circus. I was going to do these air dome structures. Like you see these soccer stadiums, they have these air dome structures. So it's a dome. So I'm like, I'm going to put a haunted house in there. Probably would have never worked out, but it was a cool idea at the time. So I bought the name Fright Dome. I got the trademark to the name Fright Dome back then. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. And I presented the name of Circus. I'm like, I want to call it this. I'm like, it's going to be my name. And they're like, cool, you're releasing it to you and leasing a space. And so we started the event Fright Dome. It almost didn't make it off the ground because of some contractual issues and stuff going back and forth. But I had good lawyers back then. So it did move forward. My former lawyer was also a judge, and he got that pushed right through.
And then explain how epic that was just for Vegas. Like, how long was Fright Dome running? I mean, that really, would you say that catapulted your career?
It did catapult my career. And, was it extremely profitable? No, not necessarily, because, any business owner knows that there's a big difference between gross and net. So while it might make millions of dollars a year, doesn't mean it nets millions of dollars a year.
Right.
And it was also a deal that I made when I was 23 years old too. So was the deal in my favor? Probably not, probably not. So that went on for 15 years. And the only reason that event's not here is because we lost our lease. That was the lease. And MGM decided to sell that property to Phil Ruffin's company. And that was it. Phil Ruffin and I have talked since then. And, it's not for me. It's like, I always say it's the Jerry Seinfeld method. My family represents Jerry Seinfeld and has for the past 20 years. And Jerry went out on top. Like, he sold that when I was on top. He didn't want to wait till it was way down low. And that's the same thing we did for Fright Dome. Is I got out of it when I was on top. We had put through well over 1 million people through that exhibit with no major injuries. Everything was good. So it's like, get out on top. You get out scot-free. We're good. You have so much other stuff on the horizon. Let's get out.
And now, flash forward, and you've partnered with massive IPs like John Wick, which is the most recent one, It, Saw, and Blair Witch. What was the process like when working with just a powerhouse like Lionsgate?
I would say 10, 15 years ago, I couldn't get a studio on the phone. Like, I couldn't break down the door. I couldn't get in. I didn't have a single studio contact. And now we have all of them. Like, we are friends with every one of them. I mean, they're all amazing. Paramount, Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, who the heck else do we have? There's some other stuff coming on we can't mention, but yeah, they're amazing people. Right now, I love working with Lionsgate on the John Wick thing. It's amazing. And it's not like they just hand me the keys of the kingdom. We still talk every week. I mean, we're friends and we talk and they help us out. It's amazing.
Well, what's that process like? Like, how are you staying true to the original film while still creating something that's fresh and interactive for fans?
So we study everything about the movie. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen John Wick. Luckily, it's a good film, thank God, because, oh my God, I could imagine just going down that rabbit hole of like watching it over and over again. But studying it, and understanding what the director's vision was and such. And that, that goes for It as well, too. I mean, literally, we've got Stephen King's IP. I mean, arguably one of the greatest writers of all time. I mean, he's incredible. And for him to lend us his IP, we want to do it justice. But one of the main things we have to do is figure out how are we going to fit this in. So let's use it as an example. It's over 2 movies, 2 films, because ours are off the films. And so you get the 2017 version, the 2019 version. And you're like, okay, well, there's a lot of shit in that movie. There's so much shit going on in that movie. So let's pick out all the important pieces that people expect to see, because the super fans and the fans, like, they want to see certain things. So in it, you're going to see the Nebold house. You're going to want to see the sewer tunnels. You're going to want to see in chapter 2, Jade of the Orient. There's you want to see the Derry Canal Days Carnival. There's all kinds of things you have to have in there.
And the red balloon.
Oh, red balloon is very important. And Pennywise.
And I have to interrupt because you told me that I wasn't going to be scared. It wasn't that scary. And I went through it a few weeks ago. And I was fucking terrified. I was terrified.
Yep. But you knew what I did for a living.
Well, I knew what you did, but here's the thing. So I was at John Wick, and Derek who's the GM over there.
Yep.
He said, what are you and your family doing? Because my brother was in town, and he, of course, wanted to do all of your attractions. So we, were so kind to set us all up and just scare the shit out of us. But anyway, he said, well, I said, tell me the truth. Is it scary to Derek? And because I said, Jason said it's not that scary. And Derek looks at me like this. And he goes, well, which one are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? There's options? Yeah. And he goes, yeah, the sewers is a scarier one. And I remembered that my ticket said the sewers on it. So when I got there, I tried to negotiate with him. I was like, listen, I don't like being scared. And actually, but it was fun and interactive. It's not like I was terrified the entire time, but like when when Pennywise comes out, like that's a no from me, dog.
He's awesome. Pennywise is awesome.
Oh, my brother was like high-fiving him through the attraction and stuff. Like when he was scaring me, my brother was like giving him positive reinforcement.
Well, it's not a haunted house though. Like you said, Pennywise only comes out a selective amount of times, because if you give too much Pennywise, they're going to get used to it, and then it's not going to be scary anymore.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. That's why it was scary, because you never knew when it was going to happen, That's from 20 plus years of scaring people and learning those lessons. I always tell people, we were scaring Rhea Ripley the other night, and I had to very carefully, Rhea Ripley, the superstar WWE wrestler, and I had to very carefully balance it with the actors. I'm like, not too much, not too much pig. Let's bring back the pig a little bit. You don't want to have too much, otherwise it's not going to work anymore. So I think we hit just the right level of pig, and we're scaring all these big badass wrestlers. I mean, it was so good, so much fun. I mean, it's a finesse, because you have to appeal to a wide range of people like me who want to go and do immersive, interactive things, but they also don't want the shit scared out of them all the way.
Yep.
So you go through the movies and you pick out the things that you want to have in the attraction. And are you talking directly with the writers for these films?
In many cases, yes. It just depends on the IP and who we're working with. In many cases, we have an amazing creative team that we actually present to them, and then their teams will review it, and we'll go back and forth on notes. I mean, it takes a long time. And, especially us being picky, I mean, our attractions are some of the highest ranked in Las Vegas, if not the highest ranked in the country. And it's so important that we spend the upfront time, the due diligence upfront, to make them freaking amazing. And I say this all the time because I don't want to rip people off. I want them to thoroughly enjoy what they've experienced. I mean, that is so important to me. Everybody, especially nowadays, people are working so hard for their money. I mean, shit is expensive. It's not cheap. I mean, nothing is cheap. And I'm like, damn, I do pretty damn good. And I'm like, damn, this stuff is expensive. Redoing my house right now, and I got new fancy toilets. I see you guys have a fancy toilet here too.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
For everyone that wonders what a fancy toilet means, it's the tushy attachment, which you'd be surprised. But it's you got to have a bidet.
Yeah.
Like once you go bidet, you can't go backwards.
Well, this is when I know that I'm getting older, that the thing that I'm excited about in my house is the toilet. It's no longer the pinball machines and the movie theaters and stuff like that. Then I'm thoroughly enjoying the toilet. Like I'm having a conversation now about my toilet, and I'm like, okay, now I know.
So wait, this is so funny we're talking about this, because yesterday I went over to my girlfriend Jamie's house.
She didn't have one.
No, she had one that's better than the bidet attachment. So it's a seat warmer attachment.
Oh, we get that. Yeah, I get that.
What?
The whole toilet. You walk in the room, and it's like this dude just saying hello to you. It's like, hello.
No,
it opens up, light turns on.
The lid opens.
Oh yeah,
there's like an LED light that's under there.
I was send like, you the link. It's awesome.
That's what I asked. I was like, what brand is it? She's like, I don't remember.
I did the research on this toilet. Like I did. Yeah, it's like a $2,000 toilet. When we have 3 of them now, soon to be 4. I mean, but they're nice. They're really, really good.
How did we start talking?
I don't even know, but
Oh yeah, shit's expensive.
Shit's expensive.
literally
Literally, shit
shit.
is expensive. Literally, shit is expensive, and this is the problem. I mean, like $2,000 toilets, and then no, we have one more. We've done 3 of the 4. The other bathroom we really don't use, and you know, my girlfriend's like, well, we should just get that one too. I'm like, shit, might as well. Now we're in $8,000 in toilets.
The reject toilet that no one wants to use.
No one even uses that, you know. But I could imagine my mom's going to come over and have 50 questions about the remote control and everything else that's going on in this toilet, and I'm like, I have a little direction manual in my bathroom, you know.
Now you need to get the TV that goes across the toilet, teaches you how to use the toilet. And now you're in for another few grand, you know?
Exactly.
Shit's expensive.
It really is. So, but yeah, that's the problem. But yeah, so we talked about it's important for my guests that are spending their hard-earned money with me to give them a damn good show, the best show I possibly can within our budget. And that's important. I mean, our It attraction is incredible. You know, I mean, studios come from all over the world to freaking see the It attraction. I love it.
I mean, it looks like the tunnels have been there for years. It feels like you're inside of the movie.
Yep.
And that's such a different perspective that a lot of business owners have. A lot of business owners are more concerned with cutting costs to make themselves more money. And I feel like you can tell the difference between someone who's passionate about their craft versus someone who's just an entrepreneur who's just looking to make the most, you know, drive the bottom dollar.
Well, and I will have arguments with other producers and promoters, and I will back out of a project too. Like if they're not willing to spend the money, or they keep value engineering things to an extreme degree, I will tell them. And I don't even have a crystal ball. I can just tell you, like, I've seen a project open recently, and it's like, I'm like, you guys cut this, you cut this, you cut this, you cut this, and you wonder why it's not doing good. I told you up front. I don't want to be the guy that says I told you so. I'm like, I'd rather be the guy that high fives you and like, woohoo, you know, you're winning. It's great. You listen. This is awesome. Versus, wow, your business isn't even going to last 6 months because you didn't listen. You know, you cut that and kept cutting and cutting. In today's day and age with social media, with reviews and all that stuff, like you can't hide the fact, you know, you can't. I mean, look at that Willy Wonka Glasgow experience that went on overseas that got press around the world.
Yep.
And it looked so bad, and they ripped off so many people. And it's like, no, why do you do that? Like, I don't know. I believe in karma, and like, give people a good show. You know, that is what they want, and that's why they, you know, spent their hard-earned money with you. So,
and speaking of that, do you have a favorite project that you've done, or one that even scared you?
Nothing really scared me. You know, I wouldn't say it's a favorite project. I would say it's moments in the project that were exciting. You know, like the Michael Jackson moment that he came to my Halloween event, which was unbelievable. I mean, this is a guy I grew up idolizing, and I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. You know, Michael Jackson's coming to see me. And I'm like,
which one? Wait, which one did he go to?
Fright Dome. So yeah,
cool.
2004, he came to Fright Dome. So how it went down is my staff calls me, and we had no clue, no heads up, no nothing. And I'm like, okay, great. What's going on here? They're like, Jason, you got to come downstairs right now. Michael Jackson's here. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, no, clear. That it was a joke because I joke around. Clearly, you know this. I mean, so I'm like
sitting next to your bundt cake and Dr. Pepper right now.
I'm just wondering. I was like, do I eat it on this? Do we get a break?
As much as I would love that, we would have to edit it out. So please don't.
You know, is it the logo on the bundt cake, or what's the problem?
Maybe
this could be
our first advertiser for the podcast. Honestly,
it's looking really good. So Michael Jackson and bundt cakes. Okay, so Michael Jackson, I said, okay, I'm going to go downstairs, and if he's not there, I'm going to be really pissed. They're like, Jason, get downstairs now. And I'm like, okay. So I get down there. All the limos are lined up. There he is. He gets out. I'm like, holy shit.
Who was he with?
He was with his kids. He was at Paris, and they called him Blanket at the time. Mm-hmm. And they were dressed up, not showing their face, of course. So Paris was dressed as a princess, and Blanket was dressed as a Spider-Man. And he was the nicest security. Let me get right, then once they knew I was the owner, they let me get right to him, and we just had the most amazing conversation, like just talking about how much he loved it, how creative it was, all this stuff. He wants me to come do this stuff at Neverland for him, and it was such a cool conversation. His kids would go on the rides. He would sit off the rides. He didn't want to go on the rides, which I was kind of shocked. But, so we sat outside the roller coaster just
Honestly, you don't want that insurance policy.
Oh God.
It's probably great that he stayed off the rides.
Yeah, that's a big one. But I'm like, so we have this great conversation, and I'm like, this is super cool. And then I wanted, I don't care about taking pictures with anybody. I generally don't give a shit. You know what I mean? We all put our pants on the same way. I don't care. But Michael Jackson, I did. So I did not get a picture, though, because he said it so nicely. He's like, Jason, he's like, I'm just not looking good today. He's like, I'm not done up how I want. He's like, you come out to Neverland. We'll do a picture. You do the Halloween thing up at Neverland. And then, we got their contact and stuff. But then after that, I think he got another lawsuit. I don't know what happened. But, obviously he was in and out of lawsuits quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the cool times.
That's still such a cool moment. That's so special.
Well, and then Sharon and Ozzy, same situation. Sharon and Ozzy came through our Halloween event. They made a special dedicated trip to see our Halloween event. And I'm like, this is cool. And
that's so cool.
I love telling this story. So it was like Sharon and Ozzy are like, it's kind of like the Johnny Carson situation. When the comedian goes on Johnny Carson, do your act. And if Johnny likes it, he's going to bring you over to the couch. You're going to sit down, have a conversation, and do the interview. Okay, well, same was with Sharon and Ozzy, where, if they like what they see, they're like, you're going to invite you to dinner afterwards, and we're going to chat about it. And, so afterwards, like, Sharon's like, Jason, come to dinner with Ozzy. And I'm like,
you're like, yes.
You don't got to ask me twice. I'm like,
pass the vibe check.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. So we had a great dinner. I was put in between Sharon and Ozzy. It was so fun because I grew up loving Ozzy Osbourne, loved his music. I would perform to it in my basement, everything else. It was crazy. But he was like, he loves the dog so much. So we were scrolling through my phone, looking at pictures of my dog. And he's like, what's this one's name? And I'm like, Anastasia. He's like, Anastasia? He's like, you're the king of horror. And he's like, Anastasia? I'm like, I didn't name her. I'm sorry. I'm like, I have another, I'm like, and he was just laughing away. I'm like, what about you? They're the Prince of Darkness. I'm like, what are your guys' names? And he was laughing away. So I don't name them either. He's like, that's Sharon. And nicest people. And
that would have been way more cool if Ozzy Osbourne renamed your dog at that moment.
Well, and it's just refreshing meeting some of those people that are so nice. I mean, like this last week, Maria Ripley, one of the biggest female wrestlers of all time. Just the nicest, sweetest person. I mean, another one we had to come through, a female comedian, Whitney Cummings, the nicest. I would love to work with her on something because she's just genuinely a great person. Just, constantly posting about us. You don't have to ask her, just genuinely wanting to help businesses and stuff. And that's what's awesome. So she's incredible. Same with Rhea though. Rhea's incredible.
It's crazy that, I mean, even, doing social media for the Wynn and Resorts World and other properties like that, when you've got a big celebrity who's on property and you've got to go, get them from the front, you would be so surprised the caliber of celebrity that does not travel with security detail versus the ones that do. Mm-hmm. And it just seems so backwards. You're like, I would have, I won't name names, but like some of the biggest celebrities do not travel with security detail. I mean, maybe they do, but they're not, right there guarding them. Maybe they're somewhere else.
Yep.
They don't travel with their publicist. It's just them and their partner, walking around the property, know.
It's crazy, isn't it? I see that all the time too. I'm like, it is different, and then you see some of the people that no one would recognize, but they have this giant entourage.
And that's why people recognize them, because they're rolling like 15 people deep.
Yeah, it's a game, and but yeah, I won't mention names either that don't have the security detail, but obviously for their own protection. But those those guys are nice and genuine. I was with some Uber celebrity, and we were in the elevator together, and people are trying to swarm the elevator. We didn't have security. We didn't have anything. We're just like, here we go. We just got to figure this out. Yeah, we've got to figure this out, and that's what we did. But it has been nice and refreshing working with some of those folks that are just incredible. So yeah, the projects I love, but having people like that come through that are also some of the most creative, most talented minds ever, mm-hmm. come and appreciate my stuff, like that's like a feather in my cap. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I mean, David Copperfield used to come to our stuff all the time. I mean, before he got really busy with his latest daughter and stuff. So he would come nonstop. He was just a great guy. And like I said, a creative genius, one of the most talented, obviously one of the best magicians of history.
Our time,
yeah. I mean, he's incredible. And I appreciate the way he works as well, too, because he wants to get everything as perfect as humanly possible. So it's always great having a conversation with him, seeing how he works, and just an incredible human being. So that's what's been fun, over the years. Not that I'm starstruck. I don't care. I just care about what they've created, what they've accomplished. I mean, look at Dana White, what he's accomplished. I mean, this guy's on top of the world, and I've done so much stuff with him. It's been amazing. That's what I like. What's the old saying? Surround yourself with good people, good things happen. Surround yourself with shit happens. And people should really take that to heart, because that's important.
Is there a film or franchise that's still on your bucket list to collaborate with?
That's a great question. Nightmare on Elm Street, is more of a bucket list item than a business move. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. That was one of my favorite characters, Freddy Krueger. I think that would make an amazing attraction. I love the character. I love the story. I love that he's funny and evil and, horrifying at the same time, because he was, he's always saying his little funny lines at his movies and such. And that's like one of the movies that Johnny Depp actually got his start in. I think it was part 1. And it's just a really, really cool franchise. So I would love to work with, like I said, the Craven family on that. That would be fun. There's so many good ones, more mainstream ones.
In your head, you're like, Craven family, call me. And I'm like, Johnny Depp, call me.
No, don't get me wrong. We've spoken to the Craven family before, so
cool.
Yeah, they're amazing. I've not spoken to Johnny Depp. That'd be cool. But, Disney's got a lot of fun ones that are incredible. Warner Brothers has Goonies. That would make such a cool attraction.
Oh, yeah.
Goonies is such a great movie. So there's a lot of things. It's like, now I'm like, what would make a good attraction? What would really, Goonies obviously makes sense. And when you try to take IP that doesn't make sense of an attraction, that's always hard. Now, we haven't done that yet, obviously, but there's always ones that reach out to us, and I'm thinking to myself, how in the world am I going to make an attraction out of that? Like, I couldn't even begin to tell you what we're going to do with that.
And speaking of that, the John Wick experience has been getting a lot of buzz. Mm-hmm. Can you give us a little BTS on how that concept came together?
That was the John Wick experience concept was like 2 years in the making. So it was like a year of going back and forth, figuring out what it is, and then just under a year of building it. So that was Lionsgate reaching out to me early on and saying, Jason, do you want to, because we had great success with Saw and Blair Witch. And they were like, I had actually worked on a lot of movie props for them and such over the years as well, too, because we do a lot of film props. We're just finishing up one today. We finished up one for the movie Novocaine not too long ago. But yeah, so we do a little bit of everything. We produce films.
Like what kind of props?
So for Novocaine, we made this Jack Quaid head. Novocaine was the guy that he was Jack Quaid, and he felt no pain. So we had to make a perfectly fabricated head, punched hair, everything of Jack Quaid, and we used it for the premiere to put on a punching bag machine, so then people could go up and punch Jack Quaid in the face, and then he has a video of him punching himself in the face, which is great. So great promotion. We built Billy Trikes for animated robotic Billy Trikes for the Saw movie, the latest Saw film. You name it. We did a Percy Jackson sword. We did Slappy for Goosebumps, which was Disney, Sony, and someone else. I think there's so many different producers involved. So we love stuff like that. So yeah, it's super fun. Building stuff is great. But yeah, so John Wick, 2 years in the making. It was, like I said, it was when they brought it to me, I'm like, sweet, let's go. And that's what I like too, is when people take risk on us too. We had primarily been in horror, and we get white labeled a lot for doing other things. But for the studio like Lionsgate to know and see through, like, okay, well, if you can do horror with 15 plus layers of aged down paint, you can clearly do a John Wick experience, which is a clean experience. The bar is super clean and everything else. So they understood, and they see, how we operate, our reviews, everything's just good, and people thoroughly enjoy it. So they came to me, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I love Keanu Reeves. He is an amazing actor. I think he's one of the most beloved actors of all time. I have not met him yet. I've spoken to his team many times, but hope to meet him sometime soon. He seems amazing. Like I said, all the stories I hear about him are incredible. I know he reviews our concepts and goes through everything, which is great. Signs off on certain things, but incredible person. So I'm like, yeah, of course. He's been in so many iconic movies too. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, The Matrix. So many more. He's a killer actor. He really is.
The John Wick series specifically, so. Also, when my brother was in town, I brought him through the John Wick experience naturally. Mm-hmm. And he thought every time I'm there for, PR opportunities, there's always people dressed up like Keanu Reeves. They literally look like Keanu Reeves. Absolutely. There was a guy in our group that was dressed up, and my brother thought that he was like part of the attraction. And he's like, hey, how come that guy's not acting? And I'm like, because he's just a super fan.
Yeah. They love it. They cosplay it. They have a blast with it. They love it. And then when I do the numbers and crunch the numbers, and and the feasibility studies and stuff. It's like the franchise is doing nearly $500 million at the box office each time it has a movie. And it's not stopping anytime soon. I think they just really, Ballerina comes out in June, which is, starring Ana de Armas, and it looks incredible. I have not watched it. It looks unbelievable. I think they just announced another John Wick film at CinemaCon. I don't know anything about it, but, I know that'll be awesome if Chad's at the helm, or whoever he chooses to be at the helm. I'm sure it'll be absolutely amazing. But it's such a cool franchise, and the numbers go up. That's what's crazy. They go up, 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 up each time. And that's when you know you have something. I mean, it's such a killer franchise, especially how hard it is to get people to go to the theater, to commit to go to the theater. I don't know what's happened with the theater, if the theaters have done it to themselves or not, but it seems like it's a very hard commitment to get people to go to the theater.
There was somebody who won an Oscar, and I should know, maybe he won Best Picture. That'll help anyone that's listening narrow it down. But his acceptance speech, and I was just talking to, Chelsea, my VP, because she's our resident cinephile. Like she goes to movies by herself at least twice a week. She goes by herself. And anyway, this guy's acceptance speech was like, please, he was telling other producers, please make movies for the big screen.
Yep.
Like you can't stop doing that. And he's like, and I'm encouraging everyone else that's listening to please go watch our movies that we make in theaters, because that's what they're built for. Yeah. And I felt like I was being targeted. So now I've made much more of an effort to go see them in theaters.
It's important. Could you imagine? I mean, they're not joking when they say, could you imagine watching this film on this tiny screen? It's the truth of the matter. And from being a business owner and the distractions that you have at home, you can't commit to a movie
all the
correctly.
Time. I always pause it. Yeah. I pause it like 15 times.
So you're not involved in it. What did I see last night? I saw Drop, which was one of Blumhouse's recent films.
How was it? I really want to go see it.
It was fun. It was super fun. Great film, very suspenseful, and it was good. And how are you going to watch a horror movie at your house without this incredible sound system that the theater has? How are you going to get the same scares at your house as the theater has? You're never going to get it. And, I agree. You need to go to the theaters. I mean, there's certain movies that you have to see at the theater. It's one of the reasons I will not watch Ballerina. If they send me a screener or something, I will not watch it on my computer. It's going to spoil the whole movie for me. That movie needs to be watched on a theater screen.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like watching the Furiosa movie, the latest Mad Max film. Great film, by the way. Whoever played Furiosa, I don't know her name, but she's incredible. But that's the same. Like, why would you want to watch it? I watched this thing, and I think they call it X screen, where it had side screens. I watched it in Miami. That was a great experience. It wouldn't have near the experience at my house. Watch the damn movies in the theater.
That wasn't distracting, the side screens?
No, it was awesome. They did it. Yeah, they did it just right. Because when you got the car chasing screens and stuff, it just felt like you were in the movie. It was really, really cool. I mean, it wasn't like the important, pertinent stuff on the sides. It was the stuff that, helps blend everything together. So it was incredible. But yeah, people need to get out. And I think that's the culture we're in now. But everybody watching on their phones, everybody's doing everything on their phones and everything else. Get out, put your damn phone down. And I'm guilty as charged, as there was some business and I had to check my phone a couple times during the movie last night. It is what it is. But I try hard, but I can focus so much more at the theater, and then, I mean, I'm a Cinemark fan, by the way. So the Suncoast Theater here is awesome. They got the heated seats. They got the
heated seats.
They got the tray table that comes across. They got good food and great customer service. I hope I get a free ticket or two for saying this.
I go to Palace Station, the one that's right by my house.
That's a good one too.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
too.
They did a good job over there. But it's a little. See, I'm not quite the big business owner and baller you are.
No, get out.
Part of the movie club at Cinemark, so I can save some money. So I think I get the tickets for like $10. You're probably paying nearly 17. So yeah, I can't. I'm
not if you do the matinee.
Yeah,
that's where it's at.
That's true. But something tells me you're a business owner. You're not doing the matinee. You're still working.
No, sometimes I come to the office at night, which is pretty weird, actually. But anyway, going back to John Wick, how was that going from? It's such a departure from traditional horror. What was that like, shifting from like haunted to more like high octane and immersive action?
It's all in my world. It's all the same. It really is. Once we sit down and study a movie, and we can do a kids attraction. I've done kids attractions, and we've done, just as good as our horror attractions. So it's all the same. It's just entertaining the guest. The same. I mean, give me a Barbie attraction, I'll do it just the same, and it's going to be amazing what we do, because it's all the upfront time that we put into it, and it's putting together something that's amazing. And if I don't have someone, if I don't know the brand well enough, I mean, there's a kids show I'm watching right now, like crazy. Can't say what it is, but I'm watching it, and I don't mind it. I just want to give people something that they thoroughly enjoy going through and diversify as much as possible.
How did you decide which parts of the John Wick universe to bring to life for fans?
Well, we made our own unique universe because this is the Las Vegas Continental, and that's what Chad, the director, wanted. He wanted our very own unique parts of, our own unique Continental. So we brought in some of the fun elements, like there's a gambling section in there. Well, there was a gambling section in part 4 of the film with Killer and stuff. There's a tailor in every film. There's a sommelier, but these are all, our own very unique version. I mean, there's a switchboard that you go through, but it's our very own unique Las Vegas switchboard, the Las Vegas twist. Like anybody can go copy the whole New York Continental. And that's not what Chad wanted to do. He wanted its own very unique identity. So that's what we did. We made a very unique Vegas one, which was really cool. And most of the rooms are really Vegasified, but to a degree. But that's what's exciting in our own talent. Like even the manager is more of a cowboy Western style manager. We've Vegasified him as well too. So. But it's similar, our Suicide Girls are, very similar to those.
I think that's another one of the things that maybe I say people, because I feel like I can put myself in that category. I didn't understand that there was actual actors and they don't suck.
No,
like
good.
You really believe them when you go through when you were talking about the manager. That reminded me, because when we did the walkthrough with Lionsgate, of course I think it was like all women, in fact, that were doing the walkthrough, and everyone just was like, fell out of their seats when it was the manager part, because he had a cowboy hat on and a suit and like a bolo tie. And anyway, it like looked like that was just how he dressed all the time. He was so believable, and I feel like cowboy heartthrob is like all the rage these days.
It is, you're exactly right. And I should wear a cowboy hat on this thing. But I have cowboy boots. They do dress up as a cowboy sometimes.
Well, you're from Nebraska, and that to me, but that's the difference, because I'm from Texas. Yeah. It's not dressing up as. Yeah. That's like our culture. Like, yeah. I didn't realize, I was talking to some people who obviously aren't from the South or Midwest, and they were saying that they feel like everyone's joking, like when they have it on, and I'm like, what do you mean? No. And they would feel silly themselves wearing it. I don't feel silly at all. I feel like that's my people. That's my culture.
And it is, like I said, I've worked with professional bull riding for years and years and years, and all the cowboys, and that Southern hospitality is a real thing. Yes. I mean, the gentlemanly things and stuff. I mean, it is a real thing. Opening those car doors is really important. I mean, that's really important.
Can we take this time to talk about?
I'm just being real, but that is really important. You got to open the doors and open the car doors.
Walk the girl to the car.
Yeah, or walk her to the door or whatever. You got to do that stuff. Otherwise,
I recently shared with you a date that I went on where that didn't happen, and I was like, it is crazy though, because. Again, going back to this, not to just dump all over the sky, but like when you're raised that way, it is a red flag when someone doesn't innately want to take care of a female, like, masculine, feminine, whatever. Those are like the buzzwords these days. But to me, I didn't even know that was an option to not do that. Like my guy friends do it. My girlfriends do it. My girlfriends are like, if you parked further, get in my car, I'll drive you to your car. It's like you look out for someone.
And that's exactly right. It's a safety thing. It's a gentlemanly thing. It's a, what they call it, chivalry or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's important. So that's coming from Nebraska though. That's coming from a good upbringing. My mom taught me right. My mom taught me manners and everything else, and that's super important. And that's half the battle is just being nice to people too. No matter how frustrated I am sometimes with a staff member, I will always hold it back, and go be frustrated on my own time, just be nice. And I tell people that all the time, like you would be amazed how far it will get you in customer service and everything else. It is so much easier just to be nice to people. It really is. And that's about being nice to your significant other, or, I see so many people that fight and I'm like, really, what do you guys fight? Like, seriously, is this a big fight over this? I'm like, really? That makes no sense whatsoever. I'm the Tony Robbins follower where 90 seconds of suffering. He's like, if you're going to bitch about something, bitch about it for 90 seconds, turn it off and move on to the next.
That's right. And that also translates into like, your colleagues. Like, is anything that big of a deal where you can't find a middle ground at some point? So then going back to John Wick, because we had...
Are we done with the date thing? And
yeah, we're done. I'm like, I can't. Else? That's all I have to... That's all I can say. You know what I mean? I mean, we can. I can go further. But...
Does your date listen to this, or will he?
It would be ridiculous for him not to. It's like free information, but I bet not, you know?
Whitney Cummings brought us to her show, the comedian Whitney Cummings.
Yeah, she's great.
And so after she went through her track, she brought us to her show. Amazing person, but she does not let her boyfriend, I guess, watch her stand-up routines, which was hilarious. He's backstage, everything else, but he doesn't watch the routines. And I don't know why that is. I have to ask Whitney, but
maybe it has something to do with, if, you know, someone's in the audience, you'd be a little more nervous if it was someone that you knew you differently, because it's almost like a character. You know what I mean?
well, plus maybe the stories that she, you know, I mean, some of those stories are dating stories. I don't know.
I think this
it's
is
fun.
bad because it's like my real life.
Yeah, I mean, but I bet I bet a lot of her stuff is her real life. You know, I
Maybe
mean,
that's why. Then that's exactly
and
what it
she's
is.
just naturally funny. Oh my God, she was just funny from just hilarious the whole way through. She's just a funny person.
So, Ana de Armas was here for Comic-Con. Did you get to talk to her after she went through the John Wick experience?
So I went through most of the experience with her. Actually, I think, yeah, all of it. Yeah, I went through all of it with her. She was awesome. And I talked to her afterwards, and she, we didn't have a long conversation because her schedule was so damn busy.
Yeah, I mean,
so busy.
The media line took up
Oh
way
my
more
God.
time than we thought. Like, I mean,
Everybody was there. Like Hollywood Reporter was there. They were all there.
Entertainment Tonight, Extra, everybody was on that media line, which was so cool that it was hosted at the John Wick experience, because then people are getting an insight to not just Ballerina and her being the lead actress in Ballerina, which I didn't know what a badass she was, like all of her own stunts and everything.
Yeah, that movie looks so good. I'm so excited for it. But she was awesome. Her team is very nice. Yeah, we chatted afterwards, and she told me how awesome it was. And then literally, what do you know, and a couple hours later, there was a beautiful post to her 14 million plus fans. I'm like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? So she didn't have to do that by any stretch of the imagination.
We accepted the collab, in case anyone's wondering.
Yeah. So that was killer that she did that. So I really appreciate when they do that, you know, and I'm sure she realizes how much help it does. Cause I don't know if a lot of those celebrities realize how much power they have at their fingertips with that. And, you know, I mean, I always say this, I'm like, I'd give a quarter of my business to Taylor Swift if she just jumped on board as a partner and then literally just put a couple posts out. We would be on fire. Like, oh my God. Like
Those Swifties,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God, just one post or, you know, or a Kardashian or whatever else, like the power they have is so much more powerful than a television show or anything. I mean, to have 300 million people at your fingertips, oh my gosh, that's powerful.
It's crazy because they're known for something that's bigger than their personal brand, but they still didn't let their personal brand, you know, go to waste. Like, I feel like those people, you know, Kim Kardashian did it right. Taylor Swift did it right, to where they're known for one thing, but then they also have the humanity side of it. And I feel like that's why they're so successful.
More power to them. I love seeing successful people. And that's something I always, you know, I always tell people too, you get a lot of negativity in this too. As you become more successful, there's a lot more haters that come out of the woodwork, and a lot more, and it's crazy. And I can't imagine what some of these people go through with the haters. You know, that goes back to, you know, being positive and like being happy for, like, if you went out and bought a Lamborghini tomorrow, and you may, I don't know, I would be excited for you. I genuinely would. I wouldn't be like, why does she get a Lamborghini and I don't? I work really hard too. Like that wouldn't come out of my mouth. I would be excited because you worked your ass off for that Lamborghini. If that's what you want to go out and do and buy the Lamborghini, you might have one in your garage. I don't know. You might not have shown it to me already. I don't know. I'm genuinely happy for my friends. You know, I've got friends that have jets and helicopters and everything else, and so do you. But it's like, I'm happy for them. That is exciting for them.
Speaking of that, and movies, have you seen A Complete Unknown? It's about Bob Dylan's life.
No, I have not.
So
it's good.
Yeah, Timothée Chalamet just like killed it. Like I went through, I told you I watched the Oscars, and I've been like trying to watch every movie that was on that won an award. And the character says this thing, and I had, speaking of pausing movies too, I paused it because I really had to process what he said. He stumbles over to his like ex-girlfriend's house, and he's kind of drunk, and he says he's just now starting to become famous. And he says to his ex-girlfriend at the time, he stumbles into his ex-girlfriend's house, and he says, when people look at me, they say, I can't believe you wrote that, not because they're proud of me, but because they wished they had written it.
Yeah.
They wish the song came to them, and it's coming out of jealousy. They're not really giving me a compliment. They're saying it because they wish it was them.
Well,
I'm like, oh, damn.
People will be so much happier in their lives if they just accept that there's always going to be a dude much bigger than me, better looking than me. And once you accept that and just be happy with what you've accomplished, That's so important, and it's that way in business. Be happy. I've got billionaire friends, or friends. Be happy for them. That's great that they sold their business for X amount of billions of dollars or whatever. That is amazing. They worked their butt off for it. They really did. Now, if you got someone that was a criminal and how they made their money was, selling drugs to kids and stuff, different story. But, but be excited for the people. And once you accept that, it will make yourself so much happier. It's like people are always, I've had people when I've had nice cars and stuff, and I'm like, they're just jealous. Why did you get this? I'm like, because I worked my ass off for it. I killed myself. There were certain times 20 years ago. There was one time 20 years ago that I had to sell my house to make the money off the house so I could keep the business going. You know what I mean? So there's been some really low times. I mean, COVID, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen at that time. All of our business was shut down. That's like, so, until you've experienced that, you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, you just don't know. And that's, like I said, it's about killing ourselves. Like I said, as business owners, you're a business owner, you have a ton of clients. It's generally about working your butt off and, enjoying life and buying what you want too. If that's your thing, my thing is off-road vehicles, you know what I mean? If that's your thing, great. You know what I mean? If your thing's good to get a Lamborghini, I would be ecstatic for you.
Well, people only see, the peak. Well, that's when they start finding out about you because you accomplished this big thing, but no one sees the other stuff that wasn't as glamorous to post about or whatever the case is. I mean, it's just hard work across the board.
Yeah, it's like I'm excited for my one of my best friends. She runs a big entertainment company, and she's got $12,000, $14,000 purses, Hermes, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Armas.
Bags and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is great. You can go out and buy yourself this versus like some jealous friend. It's like, why can't I buy that? It's like, come on. Just focus on you. If people would just focus on themselves, it would make a world of difference. But people don't do that. I don't know why.
Focus on themselves and then treat others how you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Golden rule. And a lot of people don't know that. I'm like, if everyone abided by that, the world would be just a much better place.
Well, same in our businesses too. They're like, it's like, if you just treat everybody good as they're coming through, you don't have to worry about an executive coming through and be like, oh, that was shit customer service. Just treat them all good. Mm-hmm. It's so easy because you never know who's going to come through that front door. I mean, we've been surprised by little Nas, whatever it is, little Nas X, or little Nasio, I don't know what. We were surprised by him. We're surprised by Billy Crystal. I mean, so many people, so many celebs, and I'm like, holy shit, that's crazy. Michael Jackson, obviously, we're surprised by, but obviously people knew when he got in. But you just don't know, and it's not about that. Just be nice. If anybody would take any advice to me, just be nice to people.
Yep.
Life is short. Be nice and get that negativity out of their life. Where did we go? We changed from John Wick to like having a motivational session right now.
I feel like a lot of our conversations do that naturally. But getting back on, what is like the biggest misconception that people have about the haunted or immersive attraction industry?
Biggest misconception, that I don't know if this would be a misconception, but I think that a lot of people haven't done it justice lately, like we talked about with the Glasgow thing and other attractions.
There's another one in town, we've talked about separately. We won't say.
Yeah, we won't say what's on. Yeah,
we're not bullies.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that does not help us when some jackass opens it up and doesn't do well. That hurts everybody.
Well, they didn't. It's not that they didn't do well because people didn't buy tickets. It's like they didn't execute it properly.
Oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. We're not talking about not going up against them by any means.
Yep.
No way. But I would gladly help them. I would love to help them. I would absolutely. That would be a dream job to go help someone that needs that. Someone that's so big and doesn't have is going through growing pains and doesn't have the staffing to monitor things like that. And that's what's going to hurt us. So as people open that, it's going to be, people are going to be apprehensive, like, oh, is it going to be good? Is it not? I don't know. So when people do that, it hurts my business. So that's frustrating. So that is a misconception about these things. Sometimes they're not good. And that's, I tell people, go online, look at the reviews. That's important too. I mean, look at the reviews. If you're going to a restaurant, are you going to go to a restaurant that's 2.5 out of 5 on Google, or are you going to go to one that's 4.7 out of 5? What's
harder, scaring people or getting them to buy tickets?
Scaring people's easy. Getting to buy tickets. It was the old saying, they always used to say, if you build it, they will come. It's like, no, you build it, work your ass off and hope they show up now. You just, you don't know. And that is scary as hell. I didn't know opening John Wick if a single person's going to show up, and thank God it's been selling out nonstop. So it's that scary because you have millions of dollars out and I'm just a little guy. So it's like, that's a lot of money. You know, I mean, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of Lamborghinis. But so yeah, you build it, they come, you can throw that saying out the window. It's build it, work your ass off, and hope they show up.
And then in that same line, if you're talking about, that it hurts people when they're opening up attractions that they don't put, a lot of heart and soul into, what's advice that you would give someone that wants to open up a themed attraction space?
The advice I would give is speak to an expert. Talk to someone that's done it for many years.
And you're willing to consult.
Absolutely. I will help we're helping, there's a network thing that we're helping for that I can't mention right now, but I'm like, I have made, so many mistakes over the years, but I make a hell of a lot less mistakes now than I made 20 years ago. So learn by my 20 years of doing this. Like, go to an expert. Like, I always say that, like, if I'm going and doing some kind of video production work, I'm going to an expert because we're not great at that stuff. We're not stellar at CG and all kinds of fun stuff like that. But so I'm going to go to an expert that deals with that every day. And same with, if you're opening a business, I say, I've said it many times, a couple of these businesses, I'm like, you really going to open that? Like, I'm like, how about you don't spend the 10 million, you give me $1 million to tell you don't do it, and you'll save yourself 9, because there's been a lot of, and more power to the people for getting up to bat, but sometimes I don't think they crunch their numbers correctly. Like, get in there, be very realistic, be conservative with your projections, and make sure that the numbers make sense. That's important.
Being conservative with your projections is a big one, especially that's like across the board. That's in the restaurant industry. That's everywhere, because then all you're going to do is stress your staff out. You're going to have to fire the first round of people that didn't meet your expectations, not because they're bad at their jobs, but because you didn't crunch the numbers correctly. You know what I mean? It's across the board.
Well, what about a question for you? So when you got this building, what was the most shocking bill that you got, something you weren't expecting?
Other than the down payment, I would just say the construction loan blew me away. Because this space,
cost of construction, probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just had I had no idea. And before there was a dirt floor in here. There was no walls. There was no anything. So it's the cost of a nice house.
Yeah.
It's just the construction. I feel like I was buying a house to put inside of a building, to redo it. So I think that was, what also really blew my mind was, we're in the arts district. I've been here for 8 years. It's beautiful. There's all sorts of amazing spaces that are going up around here. We're by Esther's Kitchen. He just, put a new French restaurant that I went to last week, but there's breweries, there's coffee shops. It's amazing. Wasn't always like this.
This is City of Las Vegas, right?
City of Las Vegas. I needed a back gate, and I travel twice a year. I travel on my birthday and I travel for Thanksgiving, and I could not go on my Thanksgiving trip because the back gate was almost $30,000. A gate.
Well, call me. I'll save you a little bit of money next time.
It's an automatic sliding gate.
That's fancy.
Well, that's the thing is that it's an office full of girls, and it gets dark here, half the year. It gets dark at 5.
Why couldn't I parked in the gate? Because I would have felt safer.
Gate. We would have had to zap you in.
You just park out front. He's gonna be fine. He's a dude. He'll be okay. He's from Nebraska. He's got his cowboy hat on. We'll be good. You don't need to park in the back. Nobody cares about his pickup truck.
But that's really what it was, a security issue for me, that I didn't want the girls to, we had a padlock. And the other thing about the padlock, I can't believe I'm talking about this. It gets 120 degrees here in the summertime. Everyone knows this. Imagine how hot that padlock gets, and you're having to get out of your car, unlock it.
Oh no, you're
drive backwards through the gate, go close the gate in the dark, or in 120-degree weather. So it needed to be done, but I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And that was the lowest quote. The quotes went up to $58,000 for a back gate.
And that's what people don't understand. It's a great topic because people don't get this is what it takes to run a business. That's one piece of the many puzzle pieces that you had in this thing. And I mentioned City of Las Vegas because how many times a year do you got to pay your business license? It's not one, it's twice.
Twice a year, plus a personal property tax, which for people that don't know what that is, if you own a business, you have to file with the Clark County tax assessor every year for property that you bought and owned that is sitting on Clark County land or the city of Las Vegas. So I have to pay taxes on things that I already bought and paid a sales tax for. It's
incredible. And it's all these things. Oh yeah. It's all these things that people don't realize when they're getting into business. Mine would be my giant power bill at our Escape It facility. The building is 31,000 square feet. So the power bill is $5,000 to $7,000 a month.
Oh
You know,
my
it's like, and I'm like, I knew it was gonna be high. I'm thinking 3-4 grand, but I'm like, that shit will hit $7,000 a month. And then I resort to like, how many tickets, do I have to sell to cover this power bill? Same with you. It's like, how many clients do I have to get? What do we have to do? And that's what employees don't realize. I mean, you took a $30,000 risk on one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And I'm sure there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and other stuff that went into this. And that's what they don't, as they get bitchy when they see that you're driving a fancy car, or you're driving your Lamborghini and stuff. I mean, they don't realize like all the risk you took. That's a tremendous amount of risk. It's like, it is. I mean, in my case, it's millions of dollars in risk. Every traction we build is not in the hundreds of thousands anymore. It's millions of dollars, and that's risky. If it doesn't do well, I'm screwed.
What do you see for the future of immersive entertainment in Vegas over the next like 5 to 10 years?
I think Vegas is making this amazing shift in the field of immersive entertainment, because I think that the nightclub game, and forgive me, I love the people that own the nightclubs and stuff, but I think that they've overpriced themselves so much that it's making it unachievable for people, middle-class folks and stuff like that, to go have a good time. So I feel this amazing void of giving you an amazing time for $50-$60 a person, if even VIP, $70-$80 a person, whatever that is. And it's an event, it's an experience that you can do together. Put your phone down, have this great interaction together, versus being in a nightclub with, stereo blazing and everything else. You can't hear anybody you speak. You can't even have a conversation. You're like, what? Did I hear that? And I think there's too many groups that are coming into this town and gouging, which will only help me in the immersive entertainment industry, because it seems like we're all staying very, very fair priced, which I appreciate, the people that are coming into this market and, staying very fair priced. I mean, our great friends at Meow Wolf, that's an incredible attraction. They're very fair priced. I think they're $50-some for this gorgeous, gorgeous attraction. And that goes for the other stuff at Area 15 too. It's all very fair priced. And that's going to help us succeed as these other people gouge. Where are the people going to go? They're going to come to me.
Well, and as for people who are listening and don't know, the John Wick experience is located in the vicinity of Area 15 in the parking lot. It's part of Area 15. And when my brother came to town and we went and literally did all of the Egan Productions attractions that are in town.
Day of fun.
It really was. It was actually multiple days of fun, but it was better than, just going out to dinner and staring at each other and, well, that's fun and everything. At least we're doing things together.
Just laughing, smiling, having a good time. He's making fun of his sister. She just got
of course
scared out.
Yeah, through the It experience, that was interesting. But even the John Wick experience, you're like, it's not an escape room, but there's like a puzzle. There's puzzle pieces that you have to solve. So you feel like you're becoming closer. And then after that we went into Area 15. We got some ice cream cones and walked around, and he got these like silly ass toys.
There's like a big giant ice cream
God
thing. I can't remember the name of it, but it's
don't sleep on those. They're so good.
They were I had one the other day. They had this peach one. It was really good. They didn't have the one I wanted, but it is. I was like,
they're like dense.
It was they're serious over there. But yeah, that's a thing, and I think that's what's going to happen when Universal rolls in and does their Halloween thing over there. And I think the ticket pricing was like $69 or something. That's less than a mainstream act's ticketing fee. They're gouging too much in this town. I would love this. I guess the executives are just worried about what's happening that quarter. How can they get their bonuses up that quarter versus the long-term effects? Because Vegas used to be like, if you're in California, like, hey, let's go to Vegas for the weekend, and you're going to have a $119 nice room, you're going to park for free, you're going to have reasonable price food and everything else. And now it's a commitment. It's a serious commitment. I was talking to one of my attorneys today. It's the same price as freaking like going to Hawaii. So people are going to, think twice about committing. So I hope the city makes some changes and really thinks about that.
They're not going to have a choice. I think it's going to take them a little bit. It's going to take one casino property doing it first and then everyone else following suit. So we'll see, to me, who the true industry leader is and making that change. But it's not Vegas that's changing. It's the world that's changing. People aren't drinking as much because they finally have realized that alcohol is poison. It's not good for you. And then what does that do to it's literally the next generation of people. They're not drinking as much.
It's weird, isn't it?
They don't want to go to a nightclub. They want to, just have a more relaxed experience.
Even the young people too. I mean,
Yeah.
same thing. They're not drinking. Yeah, you're exactly right.
So if it's not, Vegas is therefore changing, and if they want to be able to keep up, which we have all of the components now. Remember when we didn't have sports teams?
Yeah, which is killer.
So we have everything in place. There needs to be some shifts that happen.
No, I'm excited. I mean, they're making the right moves by getting the Oakland A's here. I'm excited about that, getting such an iconic team as the A's. I mean, that's incredible. I like baseball. And that's a killer team to bring in here. So I love that we're stealing other people's teams. Sorry, Oakland, you
I know.
shouldn't have done them dirty. I don't know what you guys did over there, but now we're taking your iconic team, your super iconic team.
Yep.
So that's fun. So I think those things will help. Vegas will continue to make some mistakes, but I'm sure the leadership will continue to make some amazing killer moves too.
Do you ever feel pressure to top yourself with each project?
Yes and no. Some of the ideas, I've got some really incredible projects in the pipeline that we want to pull off. And I know that those are going to top everything that we've done, that are going to be so amazing and so incredible that people are just going to be mind blown. So over the next 5 years, we've got some fun stuff planned. And, but that is always the thing, especially when we're doing Halloween. It's like, how do you top that? How do you top that haunted house? How do you top last year? How do you top, having George Romero come through and design a custom haunted house with you? Like, how do you top these things? But you just got to do it. You hope and pray you can do it, because that is important, because we never have the people say, oh, that wasn't as good as the last one. It's like, no, ours is better. It's kind of like the John Wick films. They seem to top it every time. I mean, this last film, part 4, was incredible. I mean, the acting was incredible. The storyline was incredible. I mean, you had Bill Skarsgård. Now I kind of work with Bill on 2 different projects. He's in John Wick and he's Pennywise, which is really cool. But that's something we always think about, but we seem to achieve, every time, but our project cost is going up each and every time too. So, I hope that, we will get some of the projects that we're actively pitching right now, and that would be really cool. But a lot of it's not easy. It's not easy. Some of these projects, I'm sure some of my staff's like, yeah, well, they are actually. Some of the staff's like, man, he's not going to get that, because they probably remember 2 years ago when I was talking about John Wick, and then 6 months in, they're like, he's never going to get it. He's never going to get it. And I prove them wrong each and every time. And that goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of getting scared of the haunted house and me wanting to, beat my fears and everything else. A lot of times it's me wanting to prove people wrong and show them that I can achieve this. When someone tells me no, that motivates me to some extreme level. Like, oh, so you don't think I can get a hold of that person? Okay, cool. Let me get a hold of that person. And we just break down the door and do it. My mom loved her to death, but she told me, you're never going to succeed doing haunted houses. It's not going to work. Go to school, become an attorney. And it's like, the same mom that's now asking me to buy her a Jeep, so it's like, love her to death. Now she knows, she appreciates what we do. And now we make a lot more money than our attorneys, but, which is great. But, that's what it is even during Fright Dome. My first deal with Fright Dome, we were going out for some outside financing. These people said, yeah, they're good. You're going to give me $200,000. Then his accountant looked at it at the end, and he's like, Jason, I got to suggest my client back out of this deal. There's no way that an event can make enough money in 1 month to support itself the year round. And I'm like, we already have the deal signed. We already said that we're good. What do you mean? And there we were 15 years later. I ran into that accountant, and again, he's like, that was one of the stupidest deals I ever backed out of. I'm like, well, good. So I proved.
I love that for you.
Proved them wrong, and we'll keep proving people wrong. It's hilarious. Like I said, we'll beat down doors. We'll do whatever it takes. My staff knows that's just how we do it. We're not going to take no for an answer. We're going to do everything in our power. And I always tell people, when we're proposing something, I say, okay, we're proposing something. Let's just use the example as Universal Studios. Let's say I'm proposing something to Universal Studios. I'm going to go in, and we have proposed stuff to Universal Studios, but I'm going to go in and give them the best presentation I possibly can, the best deck, the best video, the best whatever. I've done a presentation where I've included an actual car in my presentation, where I rented a venue to present something to someone, where we've done a whole custom video, a whole amazing deck, 3D renderings, 3D floor plans, all at our cost. And when I go in doing something like that, I know whether the answer is yes or no, that I did everything in my power to get that job. And if I didn't get it, I'm not going to lose sleep thinking, well, what could I have done differently? I did everything. I did everything I possibly can. Therefore, I'm not going to lose sleep, But in most cases, we get the jobs.
But that's how you know that you earned it.
Yeah.
Like that's just the difference. And that's the same with like any sort of R&D for me for a new client and the pitch deck and all of that. I don't ever feel like that's gone to waste, even if the answer at the end of the day is a no, because at least like you said, you know that you put everything into it. And a lot of times they'll come back after they hire someone that, you know, doesn't do a good enough job or whatever.
Well, and I'm smart when I read people very well, and hence why the reason we went with your team, and that's why we work together now. It's great because I could tell we're like-minded people. I could tell that you're a workhorse like me, and you know you get the shit done. And that just the short time we've been working, well, I don't know what it's gone like 4 or 5 months now. Time flies, but I knew right then. I'm like, oh yeah, she works versus just just pawning something off or passing the buck or whatever it is. And that's how I want my team to be too. Be a workhorse, get the stuff done. Of course, have a private life and do your thing and enjoy life too. But do everything you possibly can to make something amazing. And that's, like I said, that's what we do. Well,
and if you love what you do, you don't feel, slighted if it's like off hours or something.
No,
it's,
exactly. That's so, and that's important. I always say, what's the old saying? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
I don't believe that necessarily because some of my work does suck.
But every job has parts that suck.
But I mean, I still couldn't imagine if I was doing valet 20 plus years later, I wouldn't be able to walk. Probably my knees would be shot. I'd be bored out of my mind. I mean, it's just it doesn't work for me. It works for them. I don't want to put down at what anybody does. It just doesn't work for me. That job.
You followed your passion.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, it would have been a painful life for me. And parking cars might be for some people and what they like. And some people want that. I get that lifestyle too, where their work turns off. What's that Severance movie or not?
Oh yeah,
it's the TV show
Severance.
where work just stops right there. I get that. That's great too. So that would be fun. When I was valet, I knew after my shift there was not going to be any calls. I was not going to get a work question. I was not going to get anything. Then my work stops right there, kind of like Severance. I only sat through a couple episodes so far.
Me too. Wait, why? Did you like it or not?
I don't know if I'm distracted.
I can't get into it.
Yeah,
I think I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I'm really having to force myself. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a little too like not believable. I mean, obviously, it's really out there. But I've heard that you're supposed to hang in there. I just can't. There's other things that I.
And I know the series too. Like what do they say? Time's your most valuable possession. It's the one thing in life you can't get back. Once you use it, you can't get it back.
Yep.
So I don't want to commit to a series like Landman with Billy Bob Thornton. I was all about it. Like,
really?
You didn't like it?
Well, it's the relationship between the dad and the daughter that's like disgusting.
Yeah, but I
get out of here. That's not real. Like no daughter who's a senior in high school is gonna crawl in bed in her underwear with her dad.
I didn't even remember that part.
Oh my God! That's what I'm saying. As a woman watching it, we're like, ew, come on, Taylor. Like he killed everything else he's ever done.
Yeah.
And that one I still watched it. It gets good and it is good. And I can appreciate everything that man's ever done.
His acting's so incredible. And that's where, you're right. The daughter thing was a little like, if you're a Texas dad, I'm assuming that the boy is not coming over and spending the night.
Absolutely not. I could not have boys in my room.
But maybe in 2025, I don't know. I'm not a dad in 2025. Maybe that's acceptable now. But I couldn't even bring a girl over to my house past a certain time.
No.
The door was open and everything else.
I had some friends where boys were allowed in their room, but they had to keep the door open. Yeah. I was not. Boys were not allowed in my room. We had to be downstairs with everybody else. There was a chaperone with us at all times.
Yeah.
My stepdad has a handlebar mustache, and he would wait at the end of the driveway by the garage with a shotgun and with my grandfather in a lawn chair. Like if I was past curfew, that's what the guy drives up to.
No, and like I said, I was past curfew when I was 16 years old. First night I'd been able to drive my car. I'd got it earlier, but it was really fast Camaro. It was awesome, but I was home like 4 minutes late. My mom was there with a chain and she locked that shit in the garage. That thing was not coming out. I got grounded the first night. There was no joke. There was no, it's like, so maybe in today's day and age that was acceptable, but yeah, you're right. That wouldn't have made sense, back in the day, especially, I said Texas father and everything else, and especially if you're Billy Bob Thornton's your dad, I'm thinking Bad Santa and you're just not messing around,
No, he was like very lax in that.
What do you think about the Sylvester Stallone one? What's that called? Tulsa King?
I haven't seen it.
That's good. I like it.
It?
I don't know.
Did you see 1920? Was it 1923? With Brandon Sklenar, who is in the Lionsgate movie Housemaid. that's coming out, which
No, the actor.
Annie is the one that she was like, you need to read Housemaid. I could not put that book down. I
It's a
just
good
read
movie.
it. It's so good. Like within 2 days, I finished the book, and there's 2 more books. So I'm gonna ask around to see if I need to order the other ones.
The movie comes
but-
out sometime this year, I think.
Yeah, because when they were in town for Comic-Con, they all went to the Q&A interview series. I
Yeah.
think you and I were doing.
I saw
running
that.
around.
What's her? Amanda Seyfried.
Yes.
Yeah, we went to the party and I
Mhm.
saw her. And
I only care
she was
about
awesome.
the guy Brandon because he's
Oh.
just like the best looking thing to ever walk.
Well, don't they have it was Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried?
Yes, because they're supposed to look similar
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah.
You know, the wife and the housemaid are supposed to look similar, and then Brandon is playing the husband.
Yeah, it looks good. That's a good.
I
that's a
won't
good
give anything
Lionsgate.
away, but it's so good. All
Yeah.
right, these next ones rapid fire. You ready?
Oh shit!
What is the weirdest guest reaction you've ever seen at one of your attractions?
They shit themselves, and it happened within the last 2 weeks. Or I've had a lady drop trowel in front of Blair Witch and just all out just piss right there in the room. You know, right there, first room, just drop trowel right there.
Are they drinking?
I don't know what they were doing, but they could clearly see our cameras everywhere. Lady just dropped trowel, pissed in the corner. I'm like, we have restrooms. All you got to do is ask. You're really not locked in ever.
I know these are supposed to be rapid fire, but I
know.
really,
Where was the rapid fire?
I was
Oh,
laughing,
you're like crying over there.
laughing way too hard.
Yeah.
Okay, are you easily scared?
It's never happened here, so no one's ever shit themselves here.
Oh my
Okay, this
God.
is-
On these cowhide
only at-
chairs? Are you kidding?
Only at my workplace do they shit themselves.
Oh my God. I'm scary, but I'm not that scary.
Yeah.
Are you easily scared in real life, or are you totally desensitized?
Extremely desensitized unless it's snakes. You know, if it's a snake, then it just
You
like
don't like
I
snakes?
hate snakes.
I'm
But
totally cool with snakes.
I beat my fear that one of my actors brought in a snake, and then I was okay with that snake.
Is
but
there anything else weird that you're afraid of? That's like that, like a snake?
No, just the snakes. That's really
that's
it.
it.
Snakes or anything that's slithering. It's one of those things. Not good.
Okay, this is my favorite question of all.
Yep.
What horror villain do you think would make the best business partner?
Horror villain, best business partner. I'd say probably Jigsaw. He's so smart, you know, and conniving and engineer and everything else. He'd make a good business partner. He really would.
Pretty good answer.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream celebrity cameo in one of your experiences? You sort of already answered it, I think.
Well, honestly, I hate to say it, but I mean, and it's really not because we work with John Wick and we're partners with them. I mean, Keanu would be incredible.
Keanu.
I mean, if you walked in the room and there he is, you're like, oh shit, we've done this to actual guests. We did it with Saw, where we had Shawnee Smith. We flew her in and she took off the mask, and oh my God, fans were like, we brought in a bunch of super fans and like, oh my God, there's Shawnee Smith. This is incredible. But I could imagine if it was Keanu, you go in and there you're like,
Where would you put him? What room would he be in?
I would probably put Keanu, you know,
Manager's office or the bar?
I think sitting at the bar would be incredible,
Yeah.
and sitting in there with the manager, and you come in and you're just sitting there and just having a conversation. You're like, what the hell is going on? Because I know that video would go viral
I think
100 times.
I would do a double take because there's already so many people that dress up as him. I mean, some of them get really close
Oh,
too,
yeah.
but we're gonna make that happen. I can feel it. He's got to come. Come on.
His team's amazing. Like I said, they're the nicest people. His manager's so awesome. I love her. She's incredible.
So it's not if, it's when.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, we don't know. I mean, that's the best. We just don't know. I'm sure he'll come eventually. He's so busy with all his films, and now he's touring. He's in town this week performing and stuff.
He's here this week.
This weekend, yeah.
Keanu, call us. What's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, so he's performing in this band Dog Star. I just don't know how long he's in. He's one of the most busiest actors.
It's gonna happen this week.
Yeah, you never know. Hopefully. That'd be nice.
Thank you for coming on. This is a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like we
Did we go overtime? Or,
Yeah, we did.
We're almost the time limit. What do you do with it? Cut
30.
the shit out? Like, what do you?
Some people just naturally kind of fades out. Some people, I've cut it off at like 45 minutes before. I'm
Do
like,
you
this is it.
Cut the chivalry stuff out, you know, in your
No,
dates?
I'm going to leave it.
Okay.
I mean, we can keep going on that if you want to, but I feel like
I think we handled it. We're good.
we handled it.
I'm good. Like I said, I get. There's always room for improvement, but I do open doors, whether they're car doors and other doors, and you got to walk the people. I'm pretty good at that.
Take notes.
Yeah.
Jason, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. This was fun.